You're listening to Alumni Stories, a show celebrating the amazing alumni of Lansing Community College. I'm Steve Robinson, president of LCC, and on each episode I have the awesome privilege of meeting inspiring alums and hearing about their experiences at and since leaving LCC. Our alumni community is diverse and far-reaching, representing all walks of life and working in various industries nationwide. LCC Alumni Stories highlights those who make a positive contribution to their community and showcases those who've overcome obstacles to achieve their success. These are their dynamic stories. My guest today is Oscar Pena, an inspiring entrepreneur who's been on an incredible journey throughout his time at LCC. Starting as an HSDCI program student in 2012, Oscar later moved into our DMAC program, Digital Media, Audio, and Cinema. Now he's the head designer and founder of Black Rose Designs, a clothing company known for its high-quality apparel made right in downtown Lansing. As a dedicated small business owner, Oscar continuously gives back to our community, and recently he reconnected with LCC through the Michigan Reconnect program. Oscar, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here, and you're a downtown guy, so you're able to just walk here, and how cool is that to be downtown?
It's the best, and I'm happy to see it kind of coming back in such a way where I can walk all across to get food, to get entertainment. I know there's Summit Comics. Now we have the Middle Village right downtown.
Right.
The Atrium building now, and I'm in there too. So it's cool to be able to have a walkable downtown. Yeah,
we love it. As you might know, my wife and I, my dog, we live downtown. We walk right by your store when we walk the dog, and exciting things happening so much about downtown. But tell me a little bit about Black Rose Designs, your current venture. What do you do, and tell us about it?
Yeah, I started Black Rose technically when I was a kid. I started designing clothing long time ago, and I just sat on it, and the idea festered in my head. And as I was growing up and realizing I liked fashion and wanted to dress a certain way, it turned into learning how to make it. And a big portion came when I was in about middle school. I wanted to wear Oxford dress shoes.
Okay.
And I didn't have the money for them, so I learned how to make them.
You learned how to make Oxford shoes?
Yeah, I learned how to make dress shoes and boots, and I did it the old school way because there's so much information online that it's all cataloged, and you can just go search how they were making them 200-300 years ago.
Wow.
And that's how I like learning, is learning from the original source of production.
So you made Oxford shoes. Tell me a little bit about that. Do you need special equipment, a special sewing machine? You can't just make them by hand, right? You have to have machines.
Yeah. Well, so in the beginning, it was all theory.
Okay.
I read, I researched, I watched little videos. They were usually in different languages. I don't even know what they were because it was low quality video from another country, and they were making them the old school way.
Interesting.
As I got older, got some money, and in high school and early college, I put money into these eBay lots that just sold vintage shoemaking equipment, and that's how I got into actually learning how to make them. And it kind of just sat there for me. That's where I wanted to be a shoe maker.
So that was the genesis of this starting. Now, Do you still do shoes at Black Rose?
I'm starting a project right now. Well, I'm in the middle of a project right now. I'm making all leather sneakers. I like the idea of having a leather sole, and that's counterintuitive to sneakers these days.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do it for me. And then maybe somebody else might want one as well. But hard leather soles are just interesting to me.
Yeah, and so and you do other clothing as well. You've got the shoes. Tell me a little bit about the other apparel that you make.
Yeah. So around the time I started doing the shoe stuff, I realized how expensive it was just to make them.
Even materials, right?
Yeah. Leather's expensive. The tools, all the nails you need and waste in making shoes. So I switched to making jeans.
Okay.
I was working at a brewery in 2019, and I just needed a pair of jeans that could work as hard as I was, get covered in beer and yeast and hops and still make it through the night. And I also worked on a pocket in replace of the old fifth watch pocket.
Oh,
That's there. And instead of having that pocket, I replaced it with a series of pens and markers and flashlight pockets.
oh, which you would need working in a brewery, right?
Yeah.
Have all your tools right there.
It was a quick draw, and it allowed me to work a little more efficiently.
Okay.
And that kind of began the snowball that is now Black Rose. So back in 2019, I switched to making jeans, and now I do shirts, jackets, and jeans, of course. And I'm getting back into the shoes.
That's great. And so your shop is downtown. So you were in Middle Village, right? And so for our listeners who haven't walked by and aren't familiar, describe Middle Village for us.
Yeah. So Middle Village, it seems it was a dream come out of the nightmare of COVID.
Right.
You know, there's a ghost town. That's around the time I moved downtown is late 2020, and as much as I missed the quiet, it was very boring. So
I hear you. I was there too. That's when I moved downtown. Yeah.
It was a good time to be in. You get to wean in all the bustle that comes with being downtown. I from what I hear, they decided that was the best time to start incubating or accelerating.
Right.
These
So
small
it's a
businesses.
small business incubator, right? So it's shared space for entrepreneurs to set up essentially pop-up shops, right?
Yep. Yeah, and it helps us launch and have a storefront without the overwhelming terror of doing it on your own.
Right. And a number of businesses have spun out of there to have their own brick and mortar, right?
Yeah, it's cool to see. So we were originally in a building on the 100 block of South Washington.
Okay.
Because of developments, they're going to rearrange those buildings down there. And so we moved into the Atrium building.
Right.
Historic Strand Theater.
Phenomenal. I was there for the kind of, I saw you there. Went there for the big opening, right? It's a beautiful building. Used to be one of these great movie houses, right?
Yes. And it was an arcade as well. So at the about 100 years ago, they were little shops, candy shops. I can't remember what all was in there, but now we get to bring it back.
It's so cool.
And we're doing stores again.
That's great. That's great. So you're doing the shoes again, jeans. I love the origin story of the jeans. They're like brewery jeans.
Yeah.
I need to get a pair of these jeans.
Oh, they're handy. And I have a couple posted up. Sometimes I wear one pair because they're still intact. But there's a pair I hang up at the shop because, you get the question, why would I want to spend a couple $100s on these jeans? I can go to Meijer, Target, Walmart, and get some really fine jeans. Well, the difference is I wore those jeans too. This is why I make these jeans, because I did wear those jeans, and I couldn't keep on to them. I would just destroy them working where I was working. So I have a pair of jeans that I hang up that I wore for about 426 days straight.
Wow.
Yeah, and I washed them weekly. It was like a religious thing. If I didn't wash them at least once a week, it was a couple times because, being in brewery production.
Oh, yeah. You get stuff all over it, right?
It's pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
And then you just smell like you're already into trouble for the
So,
most part.
so the jeans are really a form follows function kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're designed, purpose designed.
Right, and that's the biggest thing is it's just you need utility. But that was also the back end of what I was thinking is there was a need for me to look not disheveled all the time.
Okay, I hear you.
So
I hear you.
I could wear my work jeans at work, and then I could also go out and do things with my family, hang out with my friends, and they didn't look so worked in.
Right, like you just walked out of the I don't even know what you call that back room at a brewery, where the vats are and everything.
Production floor.
But yeah, so you didn't just walk off the production floor. Well, that is super cool, Oscar. So great to have you downtown and doing that. you were a student here at LCC, and you started off in our HSDCI program. Some folks might not know what that program is. Tell us, how did you learn about LCC, and what was HSDCI like?
This is one of my favorite stories. I was a terrible student. I grew up here in Lansing, and I think part of it was just watching everything crumble around. The school I went to that I loved as a kid closed in my third year, so I moved to another school and moved to another school, and it was sad to see, and then end up in East Lansing going to school and feeling a little bit like an outcast. I just was terrible at it. I didn't like to care. I didn't like to
So
pay
it wasn't
attention.
clicking. It was not something you were invested or interested in at that time.
Yeah, it was bad, and it came down to about my junior year, and they were like, "Hey, either you try your best next year and still have to repeat, or you drop out, or you could go to college instead." And in my head, that was the silliest thing. I was like, "You've seen my grades, right? You know I'm not good at this." But I started at the HSDCI, the High School Completion Diploma Completion Initiative.
Right.
And it took off. It was great to be in college instead, and feel like an adult and do things that a college kid would do. And I was going to 2 or 3 classes a day. They were like a couple hours long, but I learned things in a pace that I was really wanting, I guess. So it accelerated my learning, and I think I wrapped up all the credits I was in deficit of very quickly. I think it lasted about a year I spent. And I picked up a lot of those credits. So it was nice to go through that program. It was right down here at the Mackinac building.
Right. Yeah. So I can hear it in your voice. There was something different about doing those classes in a college setting than in a high school setting. I mean, what do you think that was? What was the difference?
I think it was just being treated like an adult.
Well, that would do it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Did it seem like it had more of a purpose, like but the way you were treated, and then how the classes were set up?
Yeah. It was still lecture, and it was still a lot of information coming at us, but it was almost like the professors were like, "You have to do this. You have to do this, so do it." And if you don't help yourself, I can't help you. And I think that sort of thing helped push me into realizing I needed to buckle down, and and also they were treating me like an adult. I got to act like an adult as well, and that helped me get through and really learn how to focus and take the education seriously.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I'm hearing you say is I've heard over and over again. I mean, people rise to the expectations that you set for them, right? So if these professors in your HSDCI program, they're like, "Look, we expect you to, engage in this material like an adult," it sounds like you rose to that expectation.
Yeah. There was a lot more. There was a lot more of that where they just, you can come to class and treat it like you need it and should know it, or just don't come.
Right.
And obviously that second option wasn't really there.
I hear you. Well, that's one of the things I always loved about teaching college. Was everybody who walked into my classroom came in under their own power. It's not nobody told them they had to be there. They decided this is something they want to do for themselves. So you didn't stop at HSDCI. You entered our media program, the DMAC program. Tell me a little bit about that. How'd you hear about it, and what kinds of things did you do?
DMAC was always on my radar. I think I was planning for a film degree when I was in middle school.
Okay, all right. So you're a movie guy. You like movies and film. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I spent most of my life just watching film and TV and studying things that are on the screen, and I love doing that. So one of the things that really pushed me in the HSDCI was I'm right on campus where my other classes would be, and I think I talked to the administrators of the program and was like, oh, do you think I'll be able to do a film class? And they were like, not yet. You got to do your stuff for high school.
Yeah, there's
first.
some of those prereqs and everything you got to do first.
I was like, all right, cool. So I'll do it, and then
Even more motivation,
yeah,
right?
it's like, yeah, well, it's a year. It's a year. I can do it. I'll blow right through it. I'll be in the studio in no time. And yeah, that happened. I jumped into the DMAC program. The next, I think actually I started a program, one of the classes on the back end of my year at the HSDCI.
Okay.
And so, a little taste. I just had to keep going. Studied with the production classes, Dave Hagedorn and Bonnie Sumbler, and they taught me so much. And it was
we
stuff
have people who've done this in industry. They do great stuff for us. We have, it's such a strength here at LCC is digital media. So you were doing video. Did you do audio? What kinds of things did you do in that program?
Yeah, the program I needed to do audio. I hated audio.
Really?
So
and I'm the
much.
opposite, man. I like the video. It gives me fits because it's so. Well, at any rate, I'm an audio guy. So tell me about that. What was it about the audio that you didn't like?
I don't know. I just I was like maybe it's the exact opposite of you. It's the video gives you fits. For me, it's like why I can't see it. I don't know what's happening.
Ah, okay.
It's like who's talking right now. But as much as I hated the idea of doing it, when I got into it, it was fantastic. Everybody in the class there was a homemade DJ or a producer.
That's cool.
And they were like, "Oh yeah, I know all this stuff," and I was like, "Cool, I'm gonna ask you a lot of questions." They were like, "Oh, I don't know that." So it made me have to learn.
So they didn't know all the things they thought they knew.
Yeah, there's this. I mean, and I thought it was funny at the time, and I was also a little annoyed, and then I realized, no, that's if I had to do a class where I taught somebody how to make shoes or sew, like I'd be in the same. It's like I don't know what they're teaching you. I know how to do it,
right?
But I don't know the names they're gonna tell you or call it. And so that helped me realize, okay, well, fine, then I can learn it.
Yeah.
And I think one of my proudest moments in that class, even though it confused me, and that was the other thing, it was the massive numbers and thinking about how microphones worked and
right.
what Omni and all these crazy words.
Yep. It can be complicated. And we have all the stuff. I mean, like we have